So tempted to leave.
No, don't do it.
It is tempting though. It puts it in front of your face. It's like you could leave.
And the leave button is highlighted.
Ooh. Resist the urge. Okay, all ready?
Ready?
All right. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's episode of Can You Repeat That podcast? We're your hosts. My name is Leslie.
My name's Chantelle.
And I am Atlas.
Whoa.
Take
Look
me
at
as.
that.
Are you Estes methoding over there on us, Les?
I am not attempting to, but it sure sounds like something. Is that
Okay,
me?
and with special guest, Random Ghost.
Apparently.
Uh-oh.
Well, there was that one time I was editing your audio, Atlas, and it sounded like someone said as if.
You should share that because that was creepy as heck.
I don't have it anymore, but I'll have to
Sad.
keep them from now on because it was really spoopy. Oh,
Yeah.
I bet you it's on our Discord messages still.
Yes. I don't feel a deer would survive long enough to survive from that kind of wound and to then learn to walk upright. I see. I'm anyway with something like I see. I'm anyway with something.
Also, I have
bet
no
it
idea
is.
what's causing that noise. Not one clue.
I'm not hearing anything though, which is the crazy thing. So I don't.
Mm.
Maybe it's you then.
Well, let me adjust one thing then. Hello?
Yep,
Hello.
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Coming through okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Just in case. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's episode of Can You Repeat That podcast? We're your hosts. My name is Leslie.
My name's Chantelle.
Okay, that's fascinating. Well, when I adjust the angle of my microphone, it cuts in and out.
Well,
So I've been checking my microphone for problems, and yeah, no.
Okay, intro for a third time.
Let's
Huzzah.
do it.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's episode of Can You Repeat That podcast? We're your hosts. My name is Leslie.
My name's Chantelle.
And I am Atlas.
Okay. I guess, Shanty, you have a story for us today. Yeah?
I have a story.
Perfect. The floor is yours.
All right. So to start off, I have a question for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you an evens or an odds person? And do numbers bother you if they aren't even?
I am an evens girly,
Okay.
and I can't stand whenever something's on like 23. Well, I
Mhm.
guess I don't know. It just depends. Because like it either needs to be evens or it needs to end in a 0 or a 5. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. You're
I was
extra
gonna, yeah,
about it.
I'm the same. Even I like things to be evenly divisible, but I'm also fine with multiples of 5.
Okay. Okay. Twins. All right.
We're
Well,
connected.
clearly.
However, I'm also that person who
Uh-huh.
will purposely set the TV volume to 24 just to piss off everybody else. So wild card, I guess.
Oh, what
my.
a troll. Well, I guess the same could be said about Robert Picton.
Hmm.
So, in case anyone listening hasn't heard about Robert Picton, this is a murder case. So, there are some parts of the story that are honestly disgusting, brutal, and some of it is still very much a mystery. Have either of you heard of Robert Picton?
Uh-huh.
I'm not good with names in general.
Okay.
I'm not okay with this story.
So the name isn't ringing a bell, but I've probably heard the story. I'm not really sure. So
I'm gonna bet I'm gonna start this and you're gonna know exactly who I'm talking about.
How about
Okay.
Les? How about the pig farmer butcher? Have you heard
Oh
of
my
him?
God. He just died, yeah?
Yeah, we're going there.
Hell yeah. Disgusting. I hate this story.
Everybody is
Take
so
us away,
welcome.
Shani.
Yep. Have at her.
I had to do it for Canada, okay?
She's representing her home country.
This is not the best representation you could have picked.
Maybe not in a good way.
There are better stories out there, Chantelle.
Honestly, this fits the bill, though. This fits the bill of our podcast. But oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This story just I read it recently because of his death, and oh Lord, folks, this one's unsettling.
I had to do it for the pod.
I know,
Mhm.
and I fully support you doing it for the pod, and fully wish this guy had died sooner. Anyway,
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So Robert Picton was born on October 24th, 1949, from his mother Louise and father Leonard. They were Canadian pig farmers living in a small town in British Columbia. His younger brother David lived on the farm to help, while their older sister Linda was sent to Vancouver so she could grow up away from the farm. Life on the farm was said to be nothing short of easy. It was said his father had no hand in raising him and left that to his mom Louise, who was said to be described as a workaholic, eccentric, and tough, making the boy slave long hours on the farm, no matter the school night. Robert would often hide in pig carcasses as a kid when he wanted to
Ugh.
avoid somebody.
Ugh. In it?
In,
in
fully in
in
the pig
I-
carcass.
I didn't know that part. That's disgusting. Ooh, okay.
Yep. So to add to the visual of this family, the kids were known to smell like manure, slop,
Ugh.
and dead animals.
Ugh. Oh my gosh.
Ducks, chickens, pigs, cows, and dogs were all said to wander the house at all times.
In the house?
In the house and everywhere.
Oh man. I don't know if I knew these little things or if I've just blocked them out. Because I know what he did, but I didn't know these itty bitty teeny tiny details.
It's all in the small details.
So he really just didn't stand a chance
No,
from the start.
he was set up for failure for sure.
I don't feel bad for him still, but
No, his mother apparently had like 3 teeth left. They were rotten. She had no hair. Like no one knew how to take care of themselves. So their mother Louise, going off of what I just said, insisted that they only bathed, instilling a fear of showers for Robert. And their dad Leonard was said to be abusive and violent when he wasn't ignoring them. Robert was said to have a surprise, very unhealthy attachment to his mother. They often went to school smelling like the farm and visibly dirty, earning him the nickname Piggy. Before Robert dropped out of school, he was often bullied and teased for his stench, being in special education classes, and talking differently. He was often described as weird and slow. Robert became a full-time worker on the farm upon dropping out and got to spend more time with his mom, while his brother became popular amongst the school crowd, dating girls and, well, showered. Keep in mind, this family was very well off and their business was very popular. So they just lived like the complete opposite, and it was completely by choice.
Wow.
But Robert wasn't the only one who had a, well, troubling past. On October 16th, 1967, Robert's brother Dave was 16-year-old, driving his father's red truck with a fresh license. He hit a 14-year-old boy who was walking the side of the road named Tim Barrett. Dave sped home instead of calling authorities. He began to tell his mom, Louise, what happened, and they both returned to the site of the crash, where the boy was still laying there injured, barely alive. Louise pushed him into the deep wetland beside the road. And while the rest of the family did that, their father was cleaning the blood off the truck and fixing the visible damage. The next day, Tim's body was found after his parents reported him missing, and an autopsy revealed that the 8th grader drowned. While his injuries from the collision were severe, it was ruled to not have killed him. Louise eventually confessed this murder to a friend later on.
Blunt force trauma, but that didn't have anything to do with it. It's not sus.
Yeah,
Ow.
it said
it's hypothermia for sure.
Hypothermia.
Yeah, he had a broken pelvis and something else, but he ultimately drowned. So still in the family, but switching back to Robert, His murderous streak started in the 1900s. Between inheritance when both of his parents died and eventually selling some of the property, this led to both of the brothers becoming instant millionaires, also allowing them to expand into different industries such as auto scrapping. In 1996, Picton started a non-profit charity called the Piggy Palace Good Time Society. This nonprofit was said to organize, coordinate, manage, and operate special events, functions, dances, shows, and exhibitions on behalf of the service organizations, sports organizations, and other worthy groups. So ultimately, super vague, and it could be anything they wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
The charity events the brothers held were raves, and they held them in the farm's converted slaughterhouse.
Oh, what a. Oh.
Their raves were well known to the locals and were said to draw crowds of 2,000 people, often full of bikers, local sex workers, and even off-duty police officers. These events were said to bring $10,000 to $40,000 per event. Robert was known to frequent East Hastings in Vancouver, known for not only the homeless but prostitutes, to roam the strip by the hundreds. To this day, it is still known as Prostitute Stroll. This is one of the reasons authorities never took 3/4 of this case seriously, because most of the victims were prostitutes and drug addicts. The other serial killers, named Gary Ridgway, known as the Green River Killer, and Gilbert Jordan, known as the Boozing Barber, also picked up multiple victims here.
It's so sad.
So sad. We do know that there was a 3-year period where Robert didn't murder anyone, partially due to a woman named Tanya Carr, who lived with Robert on their property for a period of 18 months, and she was said to change him. However, in March 1997, Robert Picton was charged with the attempted murder of one of these sex workers named Wendy. During an altercation when payment was due, he handcuffed one of her hands. Upon entering his trailer earlier, she made a mental note of a knife sitting on the counter. During this altercation, she grabbed a hold of the knife, stabbing him multiple times in his jugular and face. She was able to escape, but not before he had gotten hold of her and stabbed her in the abdomen twice. Robert tried to convince authorities that she had robbed him and it was self-defense. In the end, the charge was later dismissed because she was unable to attend court from being so terrified of what the brothers might do to her if she didn't win the case. One of the farm workers, named Bill, started to notice during the next 3 years around the creepy farm, as he described it, women who visited would tend to go missing. There were a lot of rumors then and now regarding the Piggy Palace, but Robert was known for a man with lots of money and lots of drugs. While multiple incidents were reported to the police over the next few years, it wasn't until 2002 that Canadian authorities searched the farm. On February 6, 2002, a friend of Robert's had ratted his illegal firearm out due to Robert owing him some sort of rent money. A raid was conducted on his property for the purpose of searching for this firearm, and this warrant was only for the trailer at the time. They found one illegal firearm, to which he was arrested for on the spot, and they also found items belonging to multiple missing women. While there were not enough evidence to press charges regarding these items found, it was enough for authorities to get a property-wide search warrant. It took 10 days of searching for authorities to find any real evidence regarding these items, and now Robert was out on bail. The first piece of DNA evidence was found on an orange cushion and a metal shower hose, both stained with blood, matching a missing woman named Mona Wilson. Robert was arrested, and the media took this case by storm. Through some daily questioning and one cell plant, Robert would brag about how famous he had become. After weeks of being hounded by authorities, he finally slipped up, confessing that he made his own grave by being sloppy and that he injected these women with antifreeze because it only took them 5 to 10 minutes to die. One slip up is all it took for Robert to become suddenly excited, and by the end of the night, he had confessed to killing a total of 49 women. Police continued to search his property to find buckets within a freezer. In these buckets were skulls that were severed in half, feet and hands. It took a sewage company 4 whole days to pump the entire pig farm, as it was never cleaned or emptied in 20 years.
My gosh. I wish y'all could see my face right now.
It's disgusting. And there's so many disgusting details that
Mm-hmm.
are left out because there's just so many of them. But yeah, the forensic team sifted through these fragments hand by hand, piece by piece, ultimately, which revealed remains and DNA evidence of at least 33 women. Despite the thousands pieces of evidence, ironically, they never found any leg or arm bones. Authorities had now found another freezer, this time 3 plastic bags full of ground meat. These bags were labeled pig meat and stored for 4 months by authorities. They were later tested, and it was found to not only be pork, but human flesh. This linked 2 new victims to Robert. We know now that not only was he feeding this meat to pigs, but he was also serving it to people.
I hope I never have to learn that someone fed me human, but can you imagine how the people felt that attended those parties that learned, oh, he killed women, he fed them to his pigs, he also ground up the meat, and he fed them to party goers. Can you imagine reading that headline knowing that you were there? I don't think I'd be able to eat meat ever again. Instant vegetarian.
Honestly, and they would go on like weeks of benders. So it wasn't just once or twice, it was multiple times. They were most likely eating this human flesh.
Doesn't that have like serious consequences? I don't know.
You would think,
Mm.
but alas, Canada.
Canada, home of maple syrup.
Yeah, and apparently this guy.
We won't hold it against you.
Please don't. To put in some perspective into the depth of this investigation and search, authorities took 200,000 DNA samples. Now, despite all of this, and given how much meat the farm would sell and hold on a daily basis, there was no official recall or public announcement regarding these findings.
Oh my gosh. So they just left everybody in the dark for however
Yep,
long? Mm,
absolutely.
oof. And no recall, like at the
No,
least?
no recall.
Oh man. That's rough.
So rough. Robert was charged on 2 murders at first, then 3 more murders were added on. And by 2005, a total of 26 murder charges were laid against Robert Pickton, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in Canadian history. Robert was convicted of only 6 counts of second-degree murder. These were the cases with the most concrete evidence, even though he was actually charged with 26 murders, and there was additional evidence he had killed more. He was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. This is the maximum sentence for a second-degree murder charge in Canada. Other charges were discontinued as he was already serving the maximum. Now, there's a lot of rumors and speculation regarding this case specifically. Inquiries were made to how the police handled this case in general, and in the beginning of this year, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or RCMP, had asked to destroy 14,000 pieces of evidence collected during the search of his farm. Now, with so many women still unaccounted for, obviously no one was happy about this evidence wanting to be destroyed and its importance in possible future identification, especially within the Indigenous community. But this year, 2024, Robert Pickton was eligible for day parole. But plot twist. On May 19th, at the age of 74, Robert was attacked by another inmate at a maximum security institution with a broken broom handle straight into his frontal lobe.
Oh, that's brutal. I mean, I don't feel bad for the guy
I was about to say, I'm
whatsoever.
not even mad about it.
I'm not mad, but I wonder, okay, this is really like, I guess I don't even want to say solidifies anything, but the guy that attacked him, do we know if he attacked him because he just happened to piss him off that day or because he knew of his crime and knew that he was going to be eligible to get out and was like, not in my country, stab.
That's a great speculation. No one actually knows.
Well,
The
I'm gonna hope
prisoner's
it's
name was
option
Martin
2.
Charest, and the only thing that I know about him is that he had a history of assaulting other prisoners, and kind of being someone who was not afraid to dispatch prison justice, as it's put.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to say it's option number 2 then. He knew and he said, uh-uh.
I would hope that would be,
Like, you're not getting out. Not gonna
Yeah.
happen, So,
From this attack, he was put into a medically induced coma and on life support, where he died 2 weeks later. And if this story seems familiar with the pigs being fed human flesh, there was actually a Criminal Minds episode based off of this. The episode is called To Hell and Back, and it's season 4, episode 25, if anyone is interested. And Robert's only regret? That he hadn't gotten to an even 50, he admitted during his confession.
My eyes just rolled so hard. How it makes me really sad, really from the jump, that it wasn't the missing women were investigated because of their career choice, or habits. It's not fair. It just sucks. But then
yeah.
that comment, I did not know that, or
Mhm.
at least I didn't remember that, and it just makes me so much more angry.
And honestly, there's still a lot of women missing, and there's a whole Indigenous women movement happening right
Mhm.
now there that's honestly awful. On that side, that could be a whole other podcast episode. But yeah, he just wanted one more.
What
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, what creeps me out about the whole thing is, first he confesses to murdering 49 people, regrets he couldn't make it 50. They only find the remains of 27, and then the dude pleads not guilty to the charges.
Yep.
This is a disturbing one, that's for sure.
It's, yeah, to say the least, it sure is. My sources for this episode are All That's Interesting, the grisly case of Robert Pickton, the Canadian serial killer who fed his victims remains to his pigs, and CBC News serial killer Robert Pickton dead.
I'm really shocked and honestly a little disgusted that they did not recall the meat.
There was nothing.
They could have
Yeah.
at least, they're willing to lie or at least not come forward with that. They could have said, oh, well, it was just a tainted, batch. It wasn't stored at the proper degree or something. One of the pigs was sick. Don't know which one it was. Don't know which meat was distributed.
And he was off. He was known to go to auctions when he became a millionaire, and he would often pick animals from the auction that were visibly sick, diseased, visibly had something wrong with them, and then would use them.
While he was feeding people this meat and stuff, he was just so excited and happy and I don't know, got pleasure from really messing people up without them knowing it.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
Those people, I think, are the scariest, even compared. I don't know. Those people are the scariest to me when it's just messed up. I don't really have any way else to explain my thoughts on that. It's so messed up.
It's a very sad story.
I do have one thought that I will even admit is weird, but I find it fascinating that it's a pig farm that's involved. His nickname growing up was Piggy or Stinky Piggy, and then the way that he was killed.
Oh
The
yeah.
most common way to slaughter a pig is with a shot or a spear to the frontal lobe,
Mhm.
Which is often what he would do as well.
which is also what the person who killed him did to him with a broom handle.
Mhm.
Speared
Full
him
circle.
through the
A
frontal
full
lobe.
circle moment. We love that.
I know that's weird that my brain connected that, but
Yeah.
I make no
Okay.
apologies. I find it funny that Stinky Piggy got killed like a pig.
Yep.
I'm for the prison
And
justice.
And he was previously engaged to a woman, and
So she dodged
she
a bullet train.
dodged one hell of a bullet. So sorry.
I hate the story, but you did a very good job. So
Yeah, I'll send some photos in the Discord now. I actually forgot to do that during, but
I think we'd be okay.
They're
You still need to send him anyway for the Instagram post, but
they're nothing crazy. Nothing, I promise. Nothing too wild anyway, I should say.
I hate that first picture.
Yeah.
I
So
hate that.
he was said to look just like his dad.
Very sad for the victims,
Mhm.
not for him. I mean,
No.
I'm a full believer in karma, so
He definitely was he was set out for failure in the beginning.
it kind of makes you wonder, like the nature versus nurture argument.
Yes.
Like, if he was raised in a different home, would he still have grown up to do the things that he did, or was he just a product of the environment he was raised in?
He
I mean, it
brings
couldn't have
that
been
up.
healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, he brings that up a lot. He actually wrote a book um in prison and it was taken down, obviously, by the backlash. But he goes in to explain that there was this 3-week-old calf that he loved and it was his pet and followed him everywhere. And it was like his favorite thing in the entire world. And one day he got home from school, couldn't find the calf. And he asked his dad where the calf went. And his dad said, "Oh, the calf must have got out." And he was like, "How did the calf get out of the doors?" He went into the slaughterhouse and his favorite calf was hanging in the slaughterhouse and his dad had murdered the calf.
That is just, it's so sad. I don't understand why people that I guess don't like children don't have the patience or, the want to care for them have the children and they do things like this. Like, it's not hard to be a decent person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take, but I don't think it is.
And I mean, really, this wasn't that long ago.
Oh, Mika's in the background. I'll just edit that out or leave it in for comedic relief.
Definitely leave it in.
Even though she sounds absolutely terrifying in the background. Miki, leave the watermelon alone. She's back talking now.
Get it.
You really didn't have a chance. Like I said, I don't really feel bad for him in any way, shape, or form, aside from maybe those moments where it's like his parents went out of their way to hurt him.
Yeah.
Abuse can really fuck with a kid's head, especially with those kind of living conditions, and then nothing but bullying and more pain at school among your peers. I mean, I don't know.
I feel bad for little kid him, and that's it. Maybe like ages 0 to like 8. Maybe 10. Well, thank you for the incredibly depressing story, Chantelle. You did great.
So sorry.
No, you did really good. It's our podcast. It says on the front, murder, mystery, and history. So if you're expecting happy stories, this is definitely not the podcast for you, but it still do be depressing, but very interesting. All right. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Okay. Outro time.
Yerp.
Okay, I can do the outro. Thank you all so much for listening to our podcast. As always, you can find any pictures pertaining to the story posted on our Instagram, Twitter, and at CYRT Pod. Oh shit! Let me rewind that. That got me too.
Outro's been getting us all the time lately.
Okay, take 2. Thank you all so much for listening to our podcast. As always, you can find any pictures pertaining to the story posted on our Instagram and Twitter at CYRT Pod and on our Facebook page. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen, as rating helps us a ton. Have a topic suggestion or want to share a story? Send us an email at cyrtpod@gmail.com. Until next time. Oh, actually, I take it back. One other comment, and then we're done for realsies. I want to do a episode on sleep paralysis, sleepwalking, like that type of stuff. So if anyone has any stories of their experience with sleep paralysis, if you could send us an email, I greatly appreciate it. Okay, bye for real this time.
Bye.